Okay, so Vx is the same voltage node as the anode of the battery. Is that correct? Because the same wire. So I ask like, what's the voltage at Vx? I'm asking actually Vx compared to ground, which is exactly the voltage drop across which resistor? Is that R2? Anybody else? Why? Can you show the current flow? Can I probably teach it? Just show the current flow and why it works in that way.
Yeah, well, the current flows clockwise.
Yeah.
And it works that way because it's opposite of where the electrons are flowing.
Yes.
Right, and the electrons are flowing from the negative side around counterclockwise.
Yeah.
So the current's going clockwise.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So the current flows through R2 from where to where?
From R2 over to R1.
Yeah, but just look at R2, current flow from where to where in R2? Top to bottom.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
So it's going from
yeah, so the voltage drop is from where to where? Top to bottom. So Vx is higher than ground, which makes sense, right? Ground is the lowest potential in this circuit. It's 0 volts. So in order to calculate Vx, what's the first step? What's the first step for calculating Vx? Find the current. How do you find the current? Yeah. Yep. So totally you have 6 volts drop for the entire circuit. That's the only source you have. You don't have another source. That's the only source you have, and which is 6 volts, which means the entire circuit has a 6 volts drop. And the entire resistance in the circuit is 2K plus 1K because the two terminals I drew in this way, but actually they are shorted in the physical circuit. So it's going to be 3K ohms. So 6 volts over 3K ohms will be 2 milliamps. So 2 milliamps is going to flow from top to bottom like this and create a drop. Okay. So 2 milliamps times 1K will be how many volts? Is that 2 volts? From top to bottom, which means from Vx to 0, there's a 2 volts drop. So Vx is 2 volts. And from here to here across the voltage source, there will be a 6 volts decrease. Is that correct? 2 volts across 6 volts. So Vs is, there are 2 ways to calculate for Vs. Right, so the first way from here to here. So I have 2 volts here and across the 6 volts, it's going to decrease by 6 volts because that's the battery is going to force the voltage to drop by 6 volts. So 2 minus 6 will be minus 4. So here will be minus 4 volts compared to where? Compared to the ground. So let's calculate the other way, see if that's right. So current flows clockwise. So the current flow from bottom to top in R1. Okay, from bottom to top. So like go up. So that means for R1, R1 has 2 terminals. Which terminal has the higher potential? No, R1 and the current flowing that way. Right? So which terminal has the higher potential? When the current being pumped up, like water being pumped up, which side has the higher pressure? The bottom has a high pressure, so it's able to pump it up. So which side has a higher potential? Ground has a higher potential. The current flow up. How much current? 2 milliamps, right? So 2 milliamps times 2K will be 4 what? 4 volts. It's going to be a 4 volt drop or increment from top to bottom, from bottom to top. The current from here to here, like this, and there will be a 4 volts difference from here to here, right? 0 volts here, and minus 4 volts here. Is that clear? So that's the second way to calculate the voltage here. We used to use this from here to here. 2 volts here, minus 6 will be minus 4, or 0 minus 2 volts, minus 4 volts is minus 4 as well. So get this one verified. All right. Did you get it? Everybody, not just the guys here sitting close to me, but all the people hiding in the back. You're not hiding, I'm joking. You're listening, I guarantee. So should I do a random number creator again? So we have this part solved. I'll give you 5 minutes to talk to figure this out. So keep in mind, you also have number 4, right? Form groups. If you don't know how that works, ask me. Ask anybody can help you get it out. I hope you guys can get engaged instead of sitting on the back and not listening. So today's plan, we need to wrap up quiz 2. After the presentation, I'm going to give you a slides presentation for time management. I'm being told to give a presentation like that, so I'm going to do that. You guys are customers, right? You pay the tuition. No matter what they tell me to do, I'm going to do that. Time management, how to submit homework assignments on time. Okay, and we're going to cover digital signals a little bit, binary numbers, the number systems, which will be really fun, I think. Oh, no, whatever. So let's start the presentation probably in 10 minutes. Will that work? Four and 3.2, right? The entire day. Since somebody asked me to do this, so I'm going to do this. Probably 15 minutes. Yeah, took me about like 30-40 minutes to prepare for these slides. Yeah, this is not any of the formal classes you have in the semester, right, for a degree. It's a first year launch class to help you guys to know what we are doing in the university, what kind of research we are doing, and what other students have experienced in the past. Or if you have any questions, you can ask. You can share any good ideas, some you think can be helpful, not just for you but also for other people. So I don't ask you one question. So it's been how many weeks? 3 weeks? Close to 3 weeks. Any thoughts for attending college? What's the difference compared to high school? And what you think? Any kind of thoughts you can share with us. A lot more free time?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had I did sports. I had to be at school an hour early for something. I worked a job on top of.
Wow. Okay. I thought you guys are like overwhelmed because there are so many courses. No? Okay, so high school is even busier? Wow, okay. Mhm. Okay. It's just one idea came to my mind. I haven't asked you guys to introduce yourself. Right? Do you want to do that? Okay. Start from you.
My name is Dylan. I've lived in Durango for 14 years. I was born in California. Lived here all my life. Plan to go here for 2 years, probably in transfer city. But yeah, that's me, I guess.
Good.
I'm Jay. I'm from California. I like to be outdoors. My favorite sport is rock climbing.
There.
I'm Logan. I'm from Council Rock, but last year I lived in Canada, which is pretty cool. And yeah, kind of same thing as Dylan, right? Yeah, I'm gonna be probably just here for like a year or two and then transfer out. But
Up until 2 years ago, I lived in Arizona, and then we moved here, and I'm probably going to be transferring to Boulder.
Mhm.
My name is Ryan. I'm from Alaska. And
oh yeah, my name is Dylan. I'm from like the border of Ontario and like Michigan. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna stay here.
I'm Chris. I'm from Denver, and I'm probably gonna stay here all 4 years. And I like to play guitar, ukulele, video games. I think I like to play games too. Yeah.
I'm Q. I'm from Farmington. I stay here to get my computer engineering degree.
I'm Avery. I'm from Colorado Springs, and I'm gonna stay here for 4 years as well.
I'm Roland. I'm from Portland, Oregon. Probably only to be here for 2 years, and I'm into the outdoors and snowboarding.
my name is Hiram. I'm native. I'm from Kirtland. My favorite artist is Frank Ocean. And my major is business, but I'm probably gonna switch it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Cool. All right. So let's look at the first slide. Probably have seen this in the past. Eisenhower decision matrix. Yeah. How many of you have seen this before? None? All right. Important, not important, urgent, not urgent. You're gonna make a decision. You probably want to think about this. Something is important and urgent. Just do it now. Right? It's easy to make that decision. Important but not urgent, you probably want to schedule a time. Use a calendar, schedule a time. You probably want to do it at some point in the future. And so something here will be changed to this in the future, right? It's going to be urgent later on, but not right now. Not important, but urgent. Let somebody else to do it for you. Not important, not urgent. Just don't do it. That's the hard part. There are so many other things are not important and not urgent, but you like it. Some examples. Depends on how you define important or not important. What you think? How do you want to define that? Importance. Helpful to you? For what? For anything, right? So the most important thing, pretty much, I think, at least for me and for most of other people, if it's important for your school for now, for your career in the future, because you do need a job to survive. That's the reality. So I think there's a pretty good way to, trying to tell if that thing is important or not. So if you can set up short-term goals and long-term goals, if that thing is serving your short-term goals or long-term goals, then that's the important thing. Otherwise, it's not important. So the short-term and achievable goals like exams, grades in a specific course or tough concept to understand the course or certificate. Okay, for example, now the machine learning is super popular, and there are so many companies that are hiring people who knows how to program, how to build all these machine learning models, and probably get a certificate online, take the course for a couple of weeks, and get a certificate. Okay, that can be a short-term goal and can make you really, satisfied since you work for a short period of time and you can achieve that goal really quickly. So it doesn't like a 10-year long goal. You have to work on that every day in the 10 years. Just feel like it's endless. If the short-term goal, you can work on it, work hard, and get it done. Or for example, earn $10,000 to get a better car, probably $27 or something. Okay, so probably want to get a job somewhere in town or get an internship in the research groups in the college to earn some money, get a better car. Okay, these are all short-term goals. Long-term goals. Do you want to be an engineer in a company or a scientist in a national lab, or professor, or to start up a business, or become a professional athlete? So these are long-term goals. So when I was in your age, right, I love play basketball pretty much every day. I play for the college, and for the first year, pretty much not first year, 3 years in the college, I played basketball like every day or every other day. So I spent a little time on that. But definitely, for now, I definitely know I won't become a professional athlete because I'm not that tall, I'm not that fast, I couldn't jump that high. So, but I just love playing basketball during that time. If I think about that right now, I probably want to spend more time to learn programming instead of playing basketball every day. So, because playing basketball every day is not serving the long-term goal, just for fun. You want to be an engineer in the company, so which means you want to learn all these marketable skills in school. Okay? Get a certificate or get an internship in the company in the summer. If that's the goal, you probably want to get a job in the summer somewhere. And if you get an offer is not that easy. You have to have the skill first, not just learning all these course projects in all these courses you're taking. If you're thinking like you're just learning all these series concepts but not helping you get a job, you probably want to spend some time after the class, take any of the YouTube courses, online courses, and learn some real skills which can get you a job in the summer. The college seems like 4 years, 5 years, but it runs really fast. Right? If you are planning for example, the summer in your sophomore year, you hope you can get a job in somewhere, you probably want to start preparing for that right now. Okay. And after the sophomore's summer, then there will be only one summer left because the very last summer will be the graduation year, right? It's not really long, actually. 4 years is pretty fast. If you want to be a scientist in a national lab, maybe you need a master degree or doctorate degree. You need a PhD. If you want to be a professor, you need to publish papers. You need to participate in all these research opportunities for undergraduates. You need to work with professors. You need to go to the labs to, work in the weekends to do the research. If you want to start up company, a lot of people, or the businessmen, they graduated from a computer science degree. They start a company to attract all these investments, but they have to know what's going on in the business first. So it's not hurting if you're getting a engineering degree or computer science degree, even though they drop out, right? Like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, I think they dropped in the middle, but they started with a computer science degree in the very beginning. Learn to repeat some tough problems in the courses. For example, the circuit thing, the circuit analysis problems, the voltages and currents. I know it can be a bit tough at the very beginning to form that kind of concept, the model in your mind. Try to repeat it for many times. I'm pretty sure you will be able to manage it after that. And you have to trust yourself. If you couldn't get it now, repeat it. Okay, if you repeat it for 5 times, you're still not getting that. Repeat for 10 times. Trust yourself, you can get it. Okay? If other people can get it, you can get it as well. Trust yourself. And sometimes learn to teach someone about that concept, because teaching is the best way to learn. If there's no one to listen to you, I mean, you can probably create some YouTube teaching videos, see if that will help. But that can be a way to improve yourself as well. And use a calendar. So you have a calendar in your Microsoft, the email Outlook app, right? So you log into your email, you can see there's a calendar. So use that calendar and install that calendar to your phone as well. And if you have a Google Calendar, and you can manage 2 calendars in one app if you're using Android phone. Okay? So check a calendar So check the calendar at the same time for the 2 calendars in one app, if you can manage that. And also check tomorrow's activities, appointments, due dates, and events before sleep every day. That's important. Not just that, okay? And check the calendars 1 week ahead. So check it on Sunday before start working on Monday. So check on Sunday what's going to happen in that week. And during that week, also check the calendar before sleep every day. So you're not missing any due dates. And make a table for all the due dates every week. And try to clean up the table on time after you are done with that specific task. For example, something like this. So these are all the courses, and these are all the dates. And the due dates are, so for example, Tuesday, homework 2 for this course is going to due, and all these things. And after you are done for this one, just clean it up. Okay, so you know you are done with that. Otherwise, you can add a different label to it, say, I want to keep working on that next day. And if you're stuck somewhere, do not stay there forever. It's just probably going to skip to do some easier ones first, and then come back to figure that out later. Okay? So you're not missing any other things on the calendar. And I want to share with you my experience. I do have a long-term goal in the past. I think back in, I didn't have any clear goals when I was in college. So I spent 4 years in college and 3 years in my master's and 4.5 years in my PhD and 2 years in my postdoc. So when I was in my college, I I don't go to classes really often, and because I was not motivated. Um, the professors didn't tell me why is this important when I was being taught in the Circuit 1 class. Right now, I know it's important. And I enjoy playing basketball, attending clubs, and doing all these kind of activities in the college. So in the very last year, I realized that I need to go to graduate school. So I worked super hard for the very last year. And very luckily, I get in there. It's a pretty good university in China. And starting from the first year of my master's, I really confirmed with myself for my long-term goals because I want to be a professor in the future, no matter where. But I don't know how because I know I need a PhD degree in order to become a professor. Um, and why is that, right? Because there's a 3.5 months summer break every year, and it's a permanent job. And it's free to move to anywhere. It has a college in town. I can move to Durango if I'm a electrical engineer working for Samsung. I probably cannot move to Durango if I love Durango because there's no company, there's no Samsung's section here or part of Samsung's company here. No, so I couldn't move. So I think it's more flexible. I can move to anywhere literally if there's a college. That's important to me. Probably not important to you, but it's important to me. And also it's kind of permanent and I have the free time I can start a business. I can do a lot of things. That's important to me. So that's why I feel like that's a long-term goal. I need to be a professor. That's a reason, and that's a long-term goal. But how? How and where, right? So how, which is I need a PhD degree. That's pretty simple. That's what you need. And where is not really important actually. It's less important compared to how. Um, because it's another reason is out of my control. I couldn't control that. I don't even know where should I go to for my graduate school, and I don't even know where has opportunity. So after I graduate, I can work there as a professor. Um, it seems pretty easy when writing all these words on these slides, but I couldn't imagine how hard it is for Chinese person, learn English. I started learning that in 2012 and actually 2011. I couldn't talk. I couldn't understand what people are talking about at all. Not just I don't know how to talk. So there was a vocabulary covers pretty much like 20,000 words. This kind of thick book. So people preparing for that exam have to memorize all the 20,000 words in 6 months or a year for that English exam. It's called TOEFL, Test of English as a Foreign Language. And it's been super hard for me. And you can you imagine what I did? So when I was in my master's in graduate school, I spent 6 months doing nothing but learning English every day. I get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and start memorizing all the words, the vocabulary until midnight every day for 6 months. Nothing else. So the book, I start memorizing all this. I can only recognize pretty much only 10% of the words on the book at that time, at the very beginning. And I open the book, the first page, okay, I start memorizing all the words. Okay, I got it. Probably 2 minutes, I memorize everything, and I flip it to the second page, and I memorize everything on the second page. After that, I forget everything on the first page. So, and there are 500 pages. So I finally found a strategy. I searched online how to do that. So people were saying you need to try to go through the entire book for 50 times so you can memorize it in a short period of time. So I run it one time and I forget everything. The second time, I forget everything. Until the 10th time, I start recalling some of the words in the front. And after the 50 times, I can memorize every single word in the book. But now I forgot everything. But never mind, because after I memorized all the words in the book, I took the exam, I passed exam. That's the goal. It took me 6 months doing nothing. Can you imagine that? Super boring. And over like 15 hours a day to do that thing. And there's no environment to speak English. There's nobody speak English in China, even in the big city, all Chinese. And there are a couple of clubs I can remember. One in Starbucks, one in KFC. Once a week for each of them. So there will be a few people came from the U.S., from Europe, anywhere. So they have a club every week. They will meet together to talk about one topic, to practice English. That's for us, but for them, they're just trying to know what the young people in China are thinking about. So I forced myself to attend all these clubs twice a week. Just do this. So that's why I was able to start talking in English after 2 years, from knowing nothing to be able to talk. That's part of the efforts I have to make in order to get a PhD degree in the US, because I have to pass the English exam. So don't mention about anything related to the major, to the electrical engineering stuff, right? And there are 2 exams. So it's called GRE, Graduate Record Exam, to apply for graduate school in the US. 50%. So 50% is the vocabulary. It's called verbal, which is the 20,000 words thing. And I spent 6 months to prepare for that one. And there's another one is called maths. 50%. I spent 2 days to prepare for that one. I got 100%. So super simple for the maths, but for the verbal, I spent more than 6 months. It's tough. But by that time, when I was preparing for English for the exam, do I have a chance to think about, what should I do after I graduate? No, you don't need to bother yourself about thinking about this every day. It's a long-term goal. You just need to take the baby steps and finish every single thing, then you are done. So the short-term goal is to pass the exam, but long-term goal is to become a professor in the future. And I don't need to think about the long-term goal by that time, because I have to pass this one in order to get it to the next step. So after I got an offer, like I got 2 or 3 offers in the US and pick up one, and then I came over, so started my graduate study. And so I know that if I want to get an offer, a faculty job in the future, I need to publish papers. All these published research report or paper in the journal articles, the in journals or in conference papers, right? So I have to prepare for that. So I have to work in the lab about 60 hours a week, just trying to publish. So that's what I did. And I got a lot of papers in my PhD, and I graduated, and I applied for a couple of places, and I finally got it. So, and also, some places are asking for teaching skills, right? So that's why when you are in graduate school, probably you want to apply for a TA position, become a teaching assistant to help you secure a teaching job in the future, if they're asking for teaching. So remember the long-term goal? What's the long-term goal? So when I was stuck in all these places, I never forget my long-term goal. Right now, I'm still have my long-term goal. It's not being achieved yet. So my long-term goal is I don't have to work in the summer, and for the 3 months and a half, I can probably go to any places I like and rent a house over there and spend 3 months over there to explore their food, their trails, their maybe volunteer in their college, local college, or anything, right? Just doing everything different from where I live in Durango, and being flexible. So that's my long-term goal. If I'm tired with that one in the future, but at some point, I don't know if I will be tired with this one. Hopefully not, because then I will start working for my company, because I'm still trying to start it in 1 year or two to develop all these electronics kits. So it's pretty close. I hope it's gonna come true in next year or two. But think about this example. Set up short-term and long-term goals, okay? And set up baby steps, get it done in a couple months, and then move to the next. So finally, the long-term goal will come true, I think. At least you tried, right? So if you don't try, it will never come true. If you try, it should be close, I think. So what are your short-term and long-term goals? Do we have one? You don't have to tell me, right? But you have to think about it. What are they? I was almost changing my mind in my first year of my PhD because I was seeing all the classmates, my friends, graduating and find a job in the industry. I think that's really cool. So because my professor was a pretty famous guy in making IC chips, all these integrated circuits, so it's pretty easy to get a job, and the pay is pretty good as well. And I was thinking, like, should I get a job instead of applying for a factory job, or maybe just go to an industry, in Silicon Valley, just find a company and work over there. The pay will be way better than being a professor. So I spent about a couple weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks, to investigate into this. I have a few connections, and there was one guy working Intel in close to Sacramento. I think the name of the city is Folsom. So it's Intel, one of the Intel's campus in Folsom, North California. Is that Folsom? Folsom? Sacramento, beside Sacramento, that's a small city, and it's a big campus though. So I met with that guy, and I saw his working environment. So he was designing the temperature sensor for the CPU for a desktop laptop. So whenever it's too hot, it's gonna shut down the power supply. So there's a temperature sensor amplifier. So he's making that module in your laptop CPU. And I looked at his working environment, and we had a dinner together. We spent get together, spend 1 day together. And I finally make a decision. I don't want to be there. So he told me, so Intel is working so all these different projects in different groups. If that specific group didn't get any grant or projects, the entire division or group will be cut. It's happening very often in the company. I was saying, this is scary. I don't want to be there like this. This is like unstable. And also it's not flexible, not too many vacations. So I think probably not. And then I have another connection. One of the friends introduced that person to me. So he started a company in the Valley who is developing a software for figuring out, some for online shopping or something. He's struggling. probably there are many other examples are successful examples, but he said it's super hard to get investment. That's one thing. Another one is, he just like he's jealous, for people who are working in the university because it's they have that kind of peace in mind. They don't have to worry about the funding every time, and more flexible, have vacation times. So I just see I during that dinner time I saw nothing but anxiety for the whole dinner. I was like, I don't want to be that as well. However, there are many good examples, like Mark Zuckerberg, right? So he's a billionaire right now, and all the other examples as well. They know how to do programming. They can find a company to work with them. They can get $200,000 a year, even though they lose a job. They can pretty much find another job easily since they have the skill set, right? So that's another way to be successful. I'm not against that, which is not just against. I'm supporting that because that's great. If you can get a job like that, I'll be proud of you. There are so many different ways, okay? But you want to probably think about it and make a decision as soon as possible because for different long-term goals, you need to prepare accordingly. If you want to go to graduate school, you want to find a professor and work in their labs and publish papers, so you can become a professor in the future. If you want to go to a company, depends on what kind of company. If it's a software company, you need to learn coding, okay, algorithm, data structures, and go to LeetCode. The website leetcode.com. Go to LeetCode and work with their examples every day. So did you heard that? One LeetCode a day, keep unemployment away. Just visit website and just try their examples because some of the examples will be exactly the same problem during the interview of Google. There are probably a couple thousand examples, and some of them are super similar. Just practice on these examples every day. And during the interview, when you are graduating, during the interview with Google, Facebook, Netflix, right, any other these companies are giving you $200,000 a year, okay, and you'll see the same problems on the paper. You can get it done in a minute. Other people 10 minutes. So you can secure a $200,000 job. Software, okay, hardware for hardware, okay, it's totally different concept as well. You need to learn circuits, right, microcontrollers, FPGAs, coding as well, since you have to interface with a computer using software. All these kind of skills, hands-on skills with hardware, build circuits, build robots. You can still get a good job as well. Samsung, Apple. Okay, so different goals, you have to prepare accordingly and try to keep in that way and keep working in the same direction. Do not change the direction. So finally, you'll succeed. As you can see, so many other people will give up along the way. You probably haven't seen too many people give up. I have seen so many people give up along the way. There are so many people are having way higher score in high school than me. I don't know where they are right now. So you just have to be persistent. Stay on the way towards your long-term goal. All right. Hopefully this will be helpful. See you next week. So turn in your quiz 1 next week. Get it done. Yeah, get it done and turn it in next week. Okay?